right? The ninjas, the blind samurai, whatever. And so I thought, what if we take all the best sequences of Jack and make a show out of it? And can we do that? And then this dinosaur and caveman idea was there. And I'm like, oh, right, yeah, cavemen don't talk, or grunt, or whatever, you know. And that got married, and I was like, yeah, I think we can do it. And then I boarded out the first episode. I showed it to Mike Lazo, and he was like, yeah, this works. And then we got going.
So I have a question for you. You brought up Hotel, which, as you all know, Gendy has been producing the Hotel Transylvania franchise.
Directing.
Which is directing, yes, directing. What brings you back to TV? A lot of people leave, they go to features, and we never see them again. But you, thank God, keep coming back to TV. What is it?
Well, first of all, it's hand-drawn, right? So I love drawing, I still love 2D animation. Second of all, it's the freedom, right? And it's because of my situation. Mike Lazo, who's my boss, and even Brian and stuff, we've been together since the early days of Dexter. And so there's a trust and familiarity and, there's a trust and respect. So when I do a show, I don't expect any weird notes or anything. It's just honest. And half the time there are no notes, and it's a freedom. And when you're doing features, it's high pressure, it's hundreds and millions of dollars, and everything's gonna fire right. And we haven't built that relationship yet. We're building it, and I'm getting closer. Each step of the way, I'm forming a similar type of situation, but it takes time. And so the Samurai Jack experience was my first time back in TV, and it was so fantastic. We just work, and then the show comes out, and luckily it did really well. And you want that, and so it's the ultimate freedom and the ultimate creative thing, and I get to do something fresh and different, and so that's why I came back.
And it's about 220 minutes and half the amount of time of the feature, right?
We don't talk about that.
Okay, back to the audience. Lots of hands.
Nacho Libre.
To get to know this character better, what characters from your past works does he draw from or remind you of?
For this character? For my past work? Really, I don't know if anybody's specific. We try to make it unique. He's definitely stoic. So you could have a little bit of Jack in it. I guess, there's hard to get past that. But he's his own new dude that we're trying to work out. And as you see more episodes, there's more and more nuances, and hopefully he's himself. And I just kind of draw on the rawness and how do you survive when you're simple and you have this complicated thing happen to you.
Yeah, you're really seeing just the evolution of this relationship. And when you see, this is the early stage of this relationship. When the series comes out, you will be blown away about how this evolves. Another question?
I was wondering if you would ever consider working with Craig McCracken again, because he's always on Twitter saying that he'd love to come back and do another project, but he knows you're busy, so I thought I'd ask that.
Craig said that? You sure?
Yeah, no, go on his Twitter. He literally said that Gendy's like a brother. I wish because he's doing nothing now.
Craig?
No, he's not doing nothing. That's not true.
No, he's at Netflix. He's doing a new show, and
he's got a new series.
Those were some of the best days creatively with me and Craig and Paul Rudish and Robert Zetti, and it was like the purest. It's a very rare time where everybody that you work with is a complement to each other. So what I lacked, Craig had, and around in the circle it went. And so our stuff was so strong because of our team, and then you just got to move on. Everybody's got things, there's dark secrets and there's good things, just like all relationships. But yeah, I think right now Craig's got his own career, I've got my career, and I think we're moving forward.
Talk about how important the collaboration is, right? It is important, just in any project you're working on.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to, I always try to hire everybody that's better than me. And, like our production designer, Scott Wills, who I've worked with, he's in the audience.
It's incredible work. Yes, let's hear it for Scott Wills.
And you want people around you who are going to push you, who are going to inspire you. The best feeling I have is when I get up in the morning and I'm excited to see what they do today. You know, I always, like, I come in, I check what Scott did in the morning and stuff, and what our French studio, who does the animation, when they send stuff in, we were all super excited to see it. So collaboration is, of course, key. You know, I mean, we have, it seems like each project we do, we have smaller crews for some reason, but it is. It's when you find the people that click, it's magic because you're so excited to see them. It's not about like, oh, I don't want to open this, what it's going to be like. It's like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what all this is. And so, yeah, you try to find the best that you can find.
Other question?
Let's go in the back somewhere. But just go in there and pick somebody. Go in there. All right.
Hello. I've been a big time fan, like, for years and years, so thank you for bringing another great show to everybody. My question is, would you ever bring back Symbiotic Titan? You left me at a cliffhanger.
We avoided it in the afternoon panel. That question was not brought up, but it was inevitable. It's hard, you know. It's like one of those things where we didn't make it all the way through, you know, for that show. And as much as I would want to do it, I think it's kind of moved on, you know, because now Pacific Rim and all this stuff, it's kind of, you know, I think it's moved on, and it's hard to say goodbye. I don't want to say it publicly, but
I think you just did. Never say never, though. I have a question. How many of you in this audience watched Dexter's Laboratory as a child? What do you think of that?
it's amazing. That is the one, like, whenever somebody asks me what my biggest accomplishment is, and I always say Dexter, because to create a character that survives this long, it's almost 25 years, is crazy. And think about how many shows have gone and went in that time, and for still to be a warm memory to people is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cry, so stop it. Right?
Another question. Microphone person, just pick somebody.
You guys got to be more involved.
Yeah, somebody.
Who's over here? Oh, there's one over here. Okay.
Can you tell us anything about Black Knight and Fixed?
So Black Knight and Fix.
That's a different studio. We're not talking
That's
about
right.
that. Oh,
There are two movies I'm developing with Sony Pictures Animation. Fixed is a rated R comedy about a dog that finds out he's going to get neutered in the morning. And so what does he do with those last 24 hours of doghood? And Black Knight is this, plus everything else that I've done in the feature realm. It's nuts. It's the most ambitious thing I've ever attempted. And if I could get it past the goalies, it's going to be something completely different.
Still pushing. Still pushing. Still pushing. How about over here? It's your part. You need a microphone over here.
Hi there. Speaking of Dexter, what introduced me to you was, of course, the first episode, which was D-Dimensional. And I noticed something interesting about that episode, that it has what looks like a Stargate. And this happens to be the 25th anniversary for Stargate the movie. So I wonder, is there a little love there with Stargate, or is that just coincidental?
It's just coincidental. Yeah. Sorry.
First of all, thank you for finally giving us a conclusion to Shyamalan Jack. I'm sure everybody feels that way. Second, what is your best fan experience and what is your worst fan experience?
Well, my best fan experience actually just happened recently. I was at the Annecy Animation Film Festival, and this girl comes up to me, and we're doing signing, and she goes, you know, I grew up on a military base in Africa, and we didn't have any television, so I never watched cartoons until I was 8. And then we moved back to France, and the first show that I turned on happened to be Dexter's Laboratory. And so that was her first cartoon experience, and she fell in love with it. And then every time they would have to go to the army base again, she couldn't wait to come back and watch it again. So that was amazing. And so it's very, it's emotional. It's like somebody, you kind of touch them to a degree, innocently. And and my worst fans, there's no worst fan experience. You guys are awesome.
We probably have time for just 2 more questions, I think.
Let's get somebody in the back, yeah.
Somebody way back there.
Hey, hello?
Okay.
I already have the mic.
Where are you? Stand up. There you are. Hey.
You'll go next.
Could you give us a quick walk through a day in the process of actually creating something like this, from storyboarding to your actual day-to-day?
So,
It starts at about midnight.
So basically, it's hard to encapsulate the whole project day to day, but basically we start out with an outline. So myself and Brian Andrews, Derek Bachman, who's our head writer, and maybe one other person or not, we just kind of sit around and we'll break down the story, kind of loosely in the general things that happen, and then Derek will write the outline, and then we start boarding, and then so the storyboard process. It depends who does it. Like I ended up doing a bunch of them. So my process is maybe 8 weeks if I'm on it, maybe a little less. Brian Andrews, who did some of the other storyboards, it's kind of stretched out depending on how much time he has. And what I wanted to do in this project, I wanted to do all the boards up front. So because juggling everything in television production is extremely difficult, especially storyboards, because that's the key where everything starts. That's our writing process, are the boards, especially for a show like this. Then once the storyboards are done, I'll actually shoot myself. I record the screen and talk over it of the storyboards and record a whole pitch. And I do it kind of in real time, so it's like a 22-minute storyboard pitch, because otherwise it's impossible to read a 500-page storyboard like this with no dialogue. And I'll send that to Mike Lazo and Adult Swim. I get whatever comments or not, and then we take it into production. So we have a designing, basically, character design and background design, and then I start timing, basically. And then from the timing, so then once the backgrounds are done, then Scott gets them, and we'll talk about mood, and then he starts painting all the backgrounds, and then I start doing all the timing, then we kind of put it all together and send it to France, where they start animating it. That's a very quick nutshell, but my day-to-day is everything, I'll do a little writing, do some storyboarding, look over designs. A lot of the times now, every Friday we get a delivery of shots, which is very different than any other show that I've done. I get to see every part of the process on every show. Every scene I get to touch if there needs to be adjustments.
Highly unusual in the television animation world to be able to touch every scene like that.
And so most of my time is spent kind of touching things up, going over layouts, maybe fixing animation. And it's fun because at its core, I'm an animator and I love to animate. So any opportunity I get, I try to do it. And then it goes into post-production.
Yep. And I'm sorry we don't have time for one more question, but let's hear it for Gendy and Primal.
Thank you, Brian.
And watch out for, it's coming soon. Thank you. Thanks everyone for coming.
October.